Is the brand new United States Senator from Ohio, just sworn in earlier today, Bernie Moreno. Congratulations, Senator. We can officially call you that now. What's it feel like? You raise your hand, you get sworn in as the senator. Can you believe it? What'd you tell your wife and your family and your in-laws and everybody else? Did they believe that you're now a senator?
Well, the good news is I have a big Catholic family, so they all came to Washington, D.C. to be part of this. You know, it's a little overwhelming. I mean, I'm a kid born in Colombia, South America, blessed to death by this country. I got the ability to build great businesses here, and this is my time now to give back to this country that I love, and eager to get to work to get stuff done.
Well, congratulations to you. It's quite a moment in anybody's history, and the task is big. I've seen your committee assignments. I want to follow up on the lawfare that's out there. You know, there's this prevailing feeling, I think, across the country that justice is not applied equally, that somehow, if you're a conservative or Republican or say have the name Trump, that you're just not going to get the same sort of treatment as somebody on the other side of the aisle. What can you do as a senator to help even that playing field and restore justice and confidence in our justice system?
Well, Jason, as you know, what makes America unique and a great country is that we have a justice system that works. When we see what's happened over the last 4 years with the lawfare, the weaponization of the justice system, the attacks of political opponents, President Trump, of course, namely number one, the crime that was committed was a crime in that courtroom. Judge Marchand is a total, absolute disgrace to the American legal system. What we have to do in the Senate right now is get every single one of President Trump's nominees confirmed. We got to get Pam Bondi in there, Kash Patel in there. We got to make certain that they are allowed to do the job to restore the confidence of the American people in our legal system, because without that confidence, we can't go forward as a country in a meaningful way, the way we've been able to be so successful in the shining light of liberty to the rest of the world. People in Colombia look to places like America as the example. But when you see ridiculous, idiotic judges like Marchand, it's a disgrace to this country. It's an embarrassment to this country. And we got to get these guys out of office.
One of the committees that you're assigned to is the Homeland Security Committee, and we had some, dramatic happenings, both in New Orleans and then in Las Vegas. We've also had Secretary Mayorkas for a long period of time, I think, deceiving the American people by claiming that they had operational control of the budget or the border, and that they had control of it. And I don't think any of that is true. So what are the early plans for Homeland Security to try to clean up a department and agency that includes FEMA, it includes the Secret Service, it includes the TSA, it includes so many different departments and agencies, including all the different things, the different avenues of border. So what can you do from Homeland Security standpoint?
Well, the first thing you got to do is we got to get Kristi Noem in there. We got to get, again, Trump's nominees in there confirmed quickly. We got to get them in there by January 20th. They should be ready to go so that when President Trump's inaugurated, we have a full cabinet in place. That's the job of the United States Senate for the next 2 weeks. Then what they've got to do is they got to go in deep into these organizations and reform them. Now, what we have to do is, through legislation, stop these loopholes like asylum that allow people to cross the border illegally and then raise their hand and claim asylum. We have to end that ridiculous legislation that exists, make it very simple. If you come into this country illegally, you're not caught and released into the interior of the country, you're immediately returned to the country where you came, and you're never allowed to claim asylum for the rest of your life. Look, we have to make it so that you can come here legally and zero tolerance for illegal immigration. And if you're in this country illegally, you're going to be deported very, very soon. You should make the plans before we're forced to get you out of this country.
Yeah, I think President Trump has a great opportunity to reset the standard for credible fear and enforce the law. If you don't come in through a port of entry, guess what? We're going to detain you and deport you. That is the current law. And last question here, Senator. You were just elected from the great state of Ohio. Great expectations. When you look back 5-6 years from now, how should the people of Ohio and the people of the United States are going to look at you? What would be a success in your mind? What do you need to achieve during those 6 years that you've been granted this opportunity to serve as a senator?
Well, I think we have to complete the promises that we made in a campaign trail. We have to have a secure border, a zero tolerance for illegal immigration, only one path into America, a legal way. We got to lower the cost of everyday living. We have to reindustrialize this country, especially in the automobile industry, where we've gutted our middle class, gutted our auto factories, shipped them to Canada and Mexico, reverse course, shrink the size and scale of the federal government, get our budget under control, make certain we have peace and stability around the world. And Jason, we do too much here in D.C. Get stuff out of Washington, D.C., back to the states. If we can do that over the next 6 years, I think the Republican Party can be the party for generations to come. We have an opportunity. We don't have 6 years, though. We have 18 months to get these things done, and I'm confident that we can do it.
Amen to that. I can tell why you're the senator. Congratulations. Big moment.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.